Man, I do love that music. I really do. Hey, what's going on? How's it going? It's me. I'm back. Uh, hmm. 22nd of July. Man, summer is going too fast. Somebody slow this summer down for me, please. Put the brakes on it for me, please. Please, I need the brakes put on something. I need it to hang out for a little bit. So, man, it's killing me, Smalls. Hey, what's up, James? What's happening, man? What's going on, brother? Everything good with you? Man, I got a video. I thought of you when I saw this video. uh, I thought of you when I saw this video, man. Oh, I was cruising through the internet waves and come across this video and I just laughed my tail off. It's got something to do with the sexy women out there on the internet. There's a lot of sexy women out there on the internet, online doing all kind of sexy shit. A lot of ass shakers out there and stuff. So far so good. I feel you, brother. I feel you. I feel you. Man. Gonna get into this I'm gonna get into uh this Israel stuff again, because this stuff is just gone crazy. This Israel stuff. But first of all, hey, hey, man, I'm about to show you a bad motherfucker. You know what a bad motherfucker is? I seen this on the news yesterday. This a bad motherfucker here. This the definition of a bad motherfucker. This fella right here, I had to take my hat off to him, cause let's start this off with a good laugh. Cause this dude took the cake. This dude took the cake. Check it out.
Tonight, a driver fleeing police near Branson, Missouri, diving from a bridge. Deputies pursuing that driver onto the Kimberling City Bridge. He suddenly dove headfirst from that bridge, and he survived. Deputies then found Gavin Lundgren in the water, arresting him. He faces multiple charges.
That's a bad motherfucker there, boy. I tell you what. I got half a mind to send that dude. I got half a mind to send him some bail money or some money to go on his books or something. Cause that motherfucker there, boy. I tell you what. God damn, that brother there. Woo! He intended to get away. He intended to get away. Man, I was like, wow. If you was one of the cops, if you was one of the cops on the scene, imagine imagine what you had to be thinking if you was one of the cops on the scene. If you was one of the cops, you had to just be sitting there shaking your head saying, God, now who going in the water to get this food? Oh, but I digress. Oh man, that got me, man. That got me. That's the definition of a bad motherfucker. There, that's one of them dudes. That's one of them dudes. Now I don't know what he was running from the cops for. They never said what he was running from the cops for. I don't know. I don't have any idea what he was running from. All I know is the cops was chasing him. Ain't that serious? I tell you what, it was that serious to him. It was that serious to him. Hey, that's what I want to know. What's on his record? I ain't got no idea what it was he was running from. Because whatever it was, he was like, hey, I gotta go ahead and make this move. Oh man, that was crazy. But James, hey man, I thought about you when I seen this video because I was like, man, there's some beautiful women on the internet, and I said, boy, this got to be him. Say, got to be murder. Hey, it could be murder. You know the dude. I tell you what, uh, he he definitely didn't intend to get caught. As a matter of fact, if you notice, he jumped out the car while it was moving. He jumped out the car while it was moving. It looked like anyway, or it hadn't completely stopped or something yet. So I tell you what, I don't know how high the bridge was, but it definitely looked like it was high enough to keep me from jumping off of it. That's for sure. I don't even go on the damn bridge. So you know, that's just the way it is with me. Oh man. Anyway, hey James, this dedicated to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Delta Airlines Flight 2998. Recommend that Georgia continue service to Dallas Fort Worth.
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness. Oh, the internet don't be playing. The internet do not play. I tell you what, these folks tickle the shit out of me. Godly. You know, I wish I had that creativity. I wish I had that much creativity. Uh so man, I tell you what, y'all, I have been inundated, and I do mean inundated with all kind of stuff coming out recently, all kind of just craziness about Israel. And as much as I would like to even forget about Israel, you just can't forget about them because they just involved in everything. I tell you what, but before I get to that though, hey, let's not forget Lego News. Lego News had to chime in on the Secretary of War's commitment from the other day. Check it out.
The missile. Your enemy is inside your own blood. Wait till you hear the rest. Map on the wall, but they don't wanna read it. War at the door, but they don't wanna beat it. Big brave general, what's the master plan? Roll up your sleeve, boy, let's check the man. Bombs in the morning, flexing by noon. Whole world sinking and he's blowing up balloons. Whistle around his neck like a coach at the game. Losing the war, but he loved the fame. Lights down low, mirror up high. Country's on fire and he don't know why. Count it down, 3, 2, 1. Look at the general, what has he done? Sun's out, guns out, the country's on fire. He's got a whistle and a dream and a liar. Test the blood, skip the plan. Toy soldier, tiny man. Tiny man. Enemy got missiles, we got a mirror. Every single day, the picture getting clearer. He don't count the ships, he count the reps. Marching to the gym in his little toy steps. So just standing still, waiting on a word. Best that he could give them was the dumbest they heard. But get the map, boys, the secret's in the vein. Big man talking, but there's nothing in the brain. Line, lights down low, mirror up high. Country's on fire and he don't know why. Count it down, 3, 2, 1. Look at the general, what has he done? Sun's out, guns out, the country's on fire. He's got a whistle and a dream and a liar. Test the blood, skip the plan. Toy soldier, tiny man. Tiny man. Give a little man a great big big chair. Don't fill the whole room with a whole lot of air. Talking about power, talking about blood. Standing in the wreck like he's king of the mob. The world keeps turning, the fire keeps high. He's asking the doctor why the soldiers ain't spry. Wrong war, wrong fight, wrong everything. A gym class hero playing at the king. Flex it slow. War out the window, but don't ever go. Low T, that's the only fight. Lifting in the dark, running from the light. He measure the muscle, never measure the cost. Counting up the reps while the whole thing's lost. Whoa, shine that mirror, shine. Losing the country one rep at a time. Sun's out, guns out, and the country still burns. Same little general, but nobody learns. Test the blood, drop the plan. Toy soldier, tiny man.
Yeah. So the plan is to give the soldiers test their testosterone and give them testosterone injections. That ain't the dumbest shit in the world. You gonna get a soldier's testosterone injections. And then take them overseas and turn them loose. Ooh, we got some stupid ass folks running this country. Pete Hegseth announced that they intend to start checking the testosterone levels in some of the soldiers and give them testosterone injections. I think Pete Hegseth, I think he done seen too many men with their shirts off. I think he slipping over there. Something. Oh man, I tell you what. They'd be killing each other or fucking each other one. Killing some booty. Oh, that's crazy. You know what? It just ain't no end to the dumbass shit that comes out of Washington these days. It ain't no end of the dumbass shit. The stuff that come out of Washington is just so crazy. Lindsey Graham's sister is now a senator. How crazy is that? Okay, I was going to leave it alone. But the same people that scream about DEI hires, if you black, you must be a DEI hire. They screamed about Ketanji Brown Jackson not being qualified to be on the Supreme Court with her level of education, which is superior to everybody that said she wasn't qualified. And now, Lindsey Graham's sister is now a senator and plans to run for his seat in November just because she's his sister. That's the only qualification she got. She's his sister. They literally put a woman in a Senate seat. Of course, we know what it's for. Just so she can do whatever they want her to do. She can vote whatever way they want her to vote. That's all that is. We know that. But talk about bypassing everything and everybody who actually deserve to be in the seat. Out of Washington, D.C., it's all fucked up. At least, from this guy's perspective. And they're claiming that the Democrats are all divided. But it's not the Democrats that's doing the dividing. It is them suckers on the right that's doing the dividing. They are coming up with all this crazy ass stuff. Hey, Carmen, what's happening? All this crazy ass crap that they coming up with, and most of it has something to do with Israel, which is what I was about to get to. Most of it has something to do with Israel. And one other thing about Israel, I got to play this quick clip right here. This is John Kirikow, ex-CIA guy, ex-spy guy. And he just made a revelation that I made a while back. And it has to do with Israel. Everything in this country is starting to revolve around Israel. They're building a data center in Chicago that is using Israeli equipment. And it is going to be a mirror of an Israeli data center that already exists in Chicago. Listen to what John Kirikow had to say just about a friend of his. Listen to what he had to say.
I have a friend who got hired to give a speech at Georgia State University. No big deal. And she goes, they send her in advance the contract, we're going to give you $500 to do the speech, and you have to pledge allegiance to Israel. She said, what are you talking about? I have to pledge allegiance. I'm not going to pledge allegiance to Israel. I don't have allegiance to Israel. Well, you can't be a contractor in the state of Georgia and giving a speech and taking state money to make her a contractor unless you pledge fealty to Israel. And she said no. And they canceled her speech. So she sued. And she lost. She lost in the Supreme Court of Georgia. And it's not good at all. I just learned this week that in addition to the billions of dollars that we give to Israel in American taxpayers' money, the states all give money to Israel as well. It's a line item in the budgets of all 50 states.
Did I tell you that? What's up, Charles? I said this a couple of months back. Indiana. I literally read it when they slipped their line item into the Indiana state budget, the state that I live in. In the Indiana state budget is money going to Israel. They're sending state money, our tax money, to Israel and funding Israel projects in the state of Indiana. And all of the states, they've gotten their hooks in all of the states. All of the states are sending money to Israel. And they figured out a way. To divide the Democrats. See, here's what's happening right now. You got a handful of brand new Democrats going out there, and they're calling themselves Democratic Socialists, like Bernie Sanders does. And here's the thing. Understand this. When you hear somebody say they're a Democratic Socialist, understand one thing. They may not say the same thing that another Democratic Socialist says. They may have some far-fetched thing that they would like to introduce into government. You never know. Most of the time, everybody's on the same page, but not always. And why are we sending money to Israel, Carmen? I'm assuming that's the question. Because Israel has managed to capture our politicians with money. You see, sending Israel money means kickbacks to the politicians, as well as support when you try to run a race. See, one thing about politicians, if you are in a seat already, you want to keep the seat. Our politicians never want to give up their seat. They never want to go away and go back to private life. They want to be in that seat forever. And organizations like AIPAC promise them large contributions to their campaign funds. And that's all it is. They send money to Israel, and Israel will kick some back. The biggest slap in the face with that is Israel provides all manner of good shit for their people. Charles, we the only ones that's doing that. There's nobody else giving money to Israel, Charles. No. I tell you what, we got to be the laughing stock of the world. Now, how can I put this? Israel is absolutely trying, or have tried, to get their fingers into countries like UK, you know, and they've got some measure of foothold there, but not nearly like America. Not no way near. They have managed to take over our politicians here. And anytime you start to even talk about not doing something for Israel, see, you can't even start that conversation. If you start the conversation about not giving Israel money or not supporting what they're doing in Gaza, the first thing is you're an anti-Semite. When you hear there's a rise in anti-Semitism, when you hear that, that means there's some people who don't want to support Israel with their tax money. That has nothing to do with you actually being an anti-Semite. You decided you don't want to give them your tax dollars. Or these new Democrats don't want to take AIPAC money. See, when you get money from AIPAC, you got to do what AIPAC wants you to do, which is continue to send money to Israel. I heard a story today, and I'm gonna do a little more research on it. Ro Khanna, who is a congressman out of California, Northern California, I believe, went to Israel recently, and he was stopped. He was stopped by what they call Israeli settlers in the West Bank. Now, I've been hearing about Israeli settlers for a while. And you know what? After looking into this a little bit, I felt like I should have had donkey ears on. 'Cause when you say settler to me, I see people going across country with a covered wagon and finding a plot of ground, and calling it home. Do some farming, put a picket fence up and call it home. That's what I thought a settler was. I'm thinking of what they did, back in the day. You went out into the wilderness and got you a patch of ground. That is not what an Israeli settler is. For those of you that don't know what an Israeli settler is, imagine you left home, went to work one day, or the grocery store, or wherever, and you came home and it was somebody in your house and they didn't change the locks on your door and is now living in your house. We call them squatters in this country. That's what we call them. We call them squatters. You know, when you move into somebody's house while they on vacation, you know, they come back and the locks changed on their own house. You know, that's happened to quite a few people here in America. A squatter would move into your shit and then you got to go through a legal process of getting them out. And they make it a process for you to get them out. Well, the Israeli version of a squatter, they are calling settlers. But there's a twist to the Israeli settler. The Israeli settlers go into a Palestinian area and they literally throw the person out of their house, kick them off their land, and move themselves in. And then they post guards and patrols. And the patrols and guards literally communicate with the IDF, the military army. They are literally in cahoots with the military army. I mean, the Israeli army. And they patrol and keep the people out that they just kicked out of their house. That's what an Israeli settler is. I didn't even know that. I've been hearing Israeli settler for the last X amount of years. And in my mind, it was just somebody going cross country, finding some empty land, and building a house on some empty government land. No. An Israeli settler is a person who has literally thrown somebody out of their house and took the house from them. You got Israeli people, you know, who are just armed squatters. So when you hear the Israeli settlers, picture being thrown out of your house and somebody moving in. That's what an Israeli settler is. So they've come up with a way to divide the Democrats and anybody else who may have an issue with supporting Israel. And that is, they come up with this. See, like I said the other day, they call Israel the only democracy in the Middle East. And they call it a democracy because they hold elections, the people walk around with freedom, they get to vote, they get nice stuff like free housing, free college, free health care. You know, they get all the perks, free education. They get the perks like crazy. And they call that the only democracy in the Middle East. The only thing about it is, that's if you're a Jew. The Palestinian ain't got no democracy going. Okay, the Palestinian don't get no democracy. The Palestinians only get what the Palestinians get. So if you intend to be on the side of right, to where the Palestinians deserve some rights, they deserve to run their own part of a country. They decide to decide what's best for them. They shouldn't be ruled over by the Israelis. Soon as you say that, that means you think Israel doesn't have the right to exist. You'll start hearing that. Check this out. I'm so disappointed in this particular reporter on this report, because I typically would give her some credence to her reporting. But this really pissed me off when she came out with this, because this is the bull crap. This is the bullshit that they doing to the Democrats. This is a wedge that they're trying to drive between the Democrats. And part of it is because of some of the old school Democrats that like taking the AIPAC money, Hakeem Jeffries, okay. Some of them is using this too. Listen to this.
There's one question that really gets at the heart of what is dividing Democrats in the critical Michigan Senate primary.
Does Israel have a right to exist?
So I had the chance to press both of the Democratic candidates, Haley Stevens, she's an incumbent congresswoman, and Abdul El Sayed, who is the progressive. I talked to both of them here in the arena over the past week.
Do you believe Israel has a right to exist?
So, Casey, AIPAC's become a big issue in this election because AIPAC's already spent $30 million in this election. They're by far the biggest spender in the race. Now, the question about a right to exist, it's interesting because nobody's ever asked me whether or not I believe Palestine has a right to exist. Every single president who's served has said that they believe in a two-state solution. Israel exists. The question is whether or not we want a politics where our money is sent over to Israel to do genocide and apartheid instead of investing in our own kids.
You say it exists, but does it have a right to?
No, I didn't say that. I just said the question of Israel's existence is not a question. I'm not going to play this gotcha game about whether or not it has a right to exist. The question ultimately is about whether or not we want a politics that dignifies.
You're not going to play the gotcha game, but you're not going to say you think Israel has a right to exist.
Well, my question, Casey, I think the question we all ought to ask is, does everybody have equal rights to peace, dignity, and self-determination? That's Jewish, Israelis, and Palestinians. And to me, the folks who should answer what the ultimate peace there looks like should be Jewish, Israelis, and Palestinians. I want my tax dollars spent here in Michigan to provide schools in Michigan, to build healthcare in Michigan, to invest in Michigan. The question about whether or not Israel has a right to exist is actually quite secondary to whether or not they have a right to our tax dollars. And people don't ask that question in good faith.
Well, absolutely. And this is a stark policy difference between my opponent, Abdul, and myself. My goal and the work that I stand by is long-term peace and a two-state solution where people in Palestine and in Gaza can live peacefully side by side with the people of Israel. It is deeply concerning that Abdul equivocates when talking about Israel's right to exist. That does not bring us closer to peace. That does not help this tenuous situation. I stand by a two-state solution and my long work to bring us to that goal.
So we've seen this issue really animate Democrats across the board, but in some of these places where far-left candidates have won, they've been in straight blue places where a Democrat was going to win no matter what. Michigan is different because it is a purple state. So the question, does picking for Democrats a far-left progressive candidate mean that they put winning the Senate at risk?
Well, when you see how they are starting to boil this down to, does Israel have a right to exist? They got just as much right as anybody else have a right to exist. How did this become a question? I didn't hear either one of them say anything about Israel not having a right to exist. Now, one was just adamant about saying, yes, yes. The other one seemed to want to spend money in Michigan. Now, personally, I think if I was a Michigander, I'd be voting for the person that's talking about spending money in Michigan. That's just me. That's just me. These folks, and you're going to hear that everywhere. You're going to hear this, does Israel have the right to exist stuff. Give me a break. Just give me a break on that. Nobody's questioning anybody's right to exist at all. Nobody has done that. I don't even get it. That's some bull crap that, like Haley Stevens, she is full of shit. You see her over there in Israel kissing the wall and standing on stages vowing never-ending support for Israel. I tell you what, if I was voting in Michigan, she wouldn't get my vote. She wouldn't get my vote at all. And I ain't even I wouldn't even be scared to say it. I wouldn't be scared to say it at all. And by the way, Mamdani, mayor of New York City, he had a little something to say about Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm gonna see if I can pull that up here right quick. He had something recently to say about it. We talked about that, I believe. We talked about him, whether he could arrest Bibi Netanyahu. Well, he came out the other day and he made a video. And I want to play that video right here, right now, because I think that it is telling, and it just shows the kahunas my man got, and I like that. Check this out.
Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is responsible for the killing of more than 73,000 people, for the maiming of tens of thousands of children, as those who survive undergo amputation without anesthesia, for the targeting of neonatal hospitals and maternity care centers, denying newborns even the chance to live, for the countless people he starved as he blocked food and humanitarian aid from reaching them, for the gunning down of hundreds of aid workers and journalists. And just last month, the UN confirmed that Palestinian children continue to be deliberately targeted and killed by Israeli armed forces, more than 8 months after the so-called ceasefire. The list goes on and on, all as we, as Americans, pay for the bombs that do the killing. There is a reason the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for his arrest. As human beings, we have spent generations building a shared understanding that there are crimes so grave they offend all of humanity. Anyone, with their eyes, with their heart, with their conscience, should recognize the devastation he has wrought and understand that he belongs before a court of law. As I've said, I agree with the ICC that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested and tried for his crimes, as I do for anyone else charged by the ICC. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant. And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City, nor is any other war criminal at large. While we cannot end the genocide on our own, we can decide whether our silence will become another weapon, and we can examine every tool we have to defend the humanity and dignity of all people. That is my commitment to you.
That's crazy, ain't it? That's powerful right there. That's powerful. My man called him a just flat out criminal, and you not welcome here in New York. That's powerful shit. That's some powerful shit. That is crazy. Unfortunately, as mayor of New York, he can't act on an international court warrant, unfortunately. And we know DC is not going to do it. But my man made his point. My man made his point. My man made his point. So, By the way, before I go any further than this, anything on your mind today in particular? Anything at all on your mind? You know, it's so much going on that's so crazy out there that, you know, I say this all the time. And you know, the funny thing is, you get up every day and you look at the politicians. You know, today I hear Marco Rubio calling the International Criminal Court a kangaroo court. You know, it's a kangaroo court as far as you're concerned. You know, criminals don't like courts, okay? Criminals do not like justice systems. When you become a criminal, every justice system is a kangaroo court to you. You know, none of them are valid. I heard Steve Scalise doing a press conference. Steve Scalise is a Republican congressman. He's talking about the Bolsheviks or something. What did he say? The communists are taking over the Democratic Party. You know. This shit's going to hell in a handbasket. Trump has decided, since we now have, I believe it's 17 dead military people and countless injuries. You know, that's what happens in a war, you know. That's what happens. You know, you think you finna have a war with somebody and none of your people get killed. Anyway, so he's threatening now for every ship they fire on, he's going to bomb a power plant or bridge for every one. Now, bombing civilian shit is a war crime. That's plain and simple. Bibi Netanyahu is a war criminal. Trump is a war criminal because he's already committed war crimes, you know, that before we even got to Iran. As in, remember shooting the boats out in the Caribbean? Remember killing people right out in the ocean, claiming they drug dealers, and killing them before you can prove they drug dealers? You know, that's got to be a war crime somewhere. You know, you don't get to kill the person and then call them a drug dealer. You know, I think you're supposed to take him to court arrest him, take him to court. You know, you don't shoot the pants off of him. So, this shit's going to hell in a handbasket. Also, one other note, and I don't know how he plans to do this, but he's also talking about he's putting 50% tariffs on Canada again. Thought the court just told you can't put them tariffs on people. You know. But we are talking about somebody who doesn't intend to pay a court any attention. On a side note, though, one good thing did happen last week. One good thing did happen last week. And I'm going to tell you what it was. E. Jean Carroll got her check in the mail from Trump last week. She got that, what was $7 million, that first lawsuit, that first case. And Trump tried to go into the Supreme Court and he tried to go to court, appellate court, and say the case was still in the Supreme Court. After the Supreme Court ruled he's got to pay the money. He went and lied on the Supreme Court to an appellate court. And they said, get your ass out of here. Pay the woman. So E. Jean Carroll got her check in the mail. She got her paycheck. So she is now $7 or $8 million richer. And the other case, which was like 85 million or something, is working its way through the appellate court. So a little bit of good news. There was some good news. I know she's happy. Imagine prying $7 million out of that tight bastard's fist. He probably losing sleep about that right now. Knowing that dude. He's probably losing sleep like crazy. Again, anything you all want to talk about before I sign off of here? I'm going to get out of here early because it's just too much craziness going on. It's too much craziness going on. I'm going to go and dig up some more of that Ro Khanna trip to Israel because I want to find out some more about it. Apparently, when Ro Khanna went to Israel, he was stopped by settlers. And that's what got my attention. When they said settlers. So that's when I started looking into what settlers was. And I was like, how is he getting stopped by settlers? And then as it turns out, they're in cahoots with the IDF. So Trump gave Saudi Arabia the green light to have nuclear weapons. Oh, you know what? You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. I forgot about that one. Yes. Apparently, Trump just green-lighted Saudi Arabia, of all the places in the world. You talking about Iran, Saudi Arabia? You want the Saudis to have nuclear enrichment. It's called nuclear enrichment. And see, when they say they want to have nuclear enrichment, you can enrich nuclear material to have a nuclear power plant. If they turn around and make that statement, you know it's a lie. If they say we're doing this so we can have nuclear power plants, you know it's a lie. Now, they may build some nuclear power plants, but that's not going to be the end. We know that, right? And also, somehow, I guarantee you, the Trumps and the Kushners are going to be making money. The Witkoffs, the Kushners, and the Trumps are going to be making money off of this deal. You know it. How in the hell are you going to let... You know, the Saudis are the architects of 9/11. The Saudis are the ones flying the planes in the buildings around here. And you're going to give them nuclear enrichment? You're going to give them our technology to do it? Are you crazy? Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, James, I'm glad you remembered that one because that is so damn ridiculous till it's just, it's so ridiculous. That one left me speechless. I think my mind didn't want to remember that one. I think my mind was trying to put that one out of it because that was so ridiculous. Now you want to stand there in front of us and say, we don't want Iran to have nuclear weapons, but you want the Saudis to have it? You want the Saudis to have it? See, that's a dude. That's a dude that that's a guy ain't had his ass kicked. That's a guy that hasn't had his ass kicked. Gonna give him our technology, our expertise, our equipment. And we stuck with this guy for two more years. He said, "Where's the Twilight Zone exit door?" Hey man, you know what? I tell you what, I don't think there is an exit on this one. I do not think that. Hey, you know what? I think I can hear Rod Serling standing in the background. I can hear him in the background. He's got to be in the background saying, "Whoa." Rod might even left the set on that one. He might have been, wait a minute, that's too crazy. Yeah, that's anyway. Before I get out of here, I'm gonna play this one clip. Jesse Ventura with a challenge to the Trumps. Jesse Ventura went on Piers Morgan's show and gave a challenge to the Trumps. I'm gonna play it right here because when he said this, I was here. I want to see it too. I would like to see it too. Here's Jesse Ventura talking about the Trumps.
Let me ask you about Iran and your view of this war.
Well, here's how I feel about it. There's a simple thing as a leader, and you know this having been in the military. Trump wouldn't know it because he's a grab-dodging coward. But anyway, it's this. A war is justified if you're willing to send your kids. Because how can you send somebody else's kids to a war if you won't send your own? So I'm calling right now for Barron Trump. Donald Trump's on you after all. He's had 3 wives. He's had kids by each wife, and nobody's ever served in the military. To my knowledge, a Trump in the last 100 years has never done military service. Well, Barron, you can change that. Enlist in the United States military right now. Do something your father didn't have the courage to do. Do something your father didn't have the patriotism to do. I want to see a Trump in the military. Everybody in my family is served, so I think I can say that with all due confidence. Come on, Trumps. Don't just reap the benefits of this free world. Somebody put on the uniform, and that's you, Barron. And I heard the excuse that Barron might be too tall. David Robinson served on active duty. He was 7 feet tall before he ever went to the San Antonio Spurs basketball team. David Robinson went to the United States Navy Military Academy. He's one of my officers, not directly, but he would have been.
Okay, look, it's one argument that a Trump should serve. That's a perfectly reasonable argument to make. A lot of people feel that way. But it doesn't change what's going on in Iran. What is your view of this war? Do you think it's a legitimate war? Many people think that the Iranian regime has been the instrument of terror through the Middle East for 40 years.
Of course they have been. Of course they have been, Piers. But wait a minute. Trump then calls you guys NATO cowards. Wait a minute. NATO is set up to protect. That means that if a NATO country is attacked, they will all join together to repel it. It doesn't go in reverse. It doesn't mean if one of the NATO countries starts a war that all the others have to join in. That ain't part of the deal. The deal is protection, not aggression.
What more can I say? What more can I say? On that note, I'm going to get out of here. Stop asking people for help after they went and stepped in a pile of shit. Okay? Clean your shoes off and carry your ass on. That's all I can say. On that note, I appreciate y'all for hanging out. I'm out of here. I will see y'all next week. Hit that thumbs up thing, ring that bell, get this algorithm to do its thing. And everybody enjoy y'all's rest of the week and the weekend. And I will see you all next week. Like my man here say, stay prayed up. And like Carmen say, be safe and careful. And I will see y'all next week. Take it easy.